this is TRBusiness at Cannes, and I'm with Fredrik Lindh, the CEO of Generation Research, who's agreed to interview. Fredrik, welcome today.
Thank you. Thank you.
And perhaps I can kick off with some questions I know that many of our readers will be interested in.
Yeah.
One of the statements you made recently related to currency fluctuations as the biggest influence on the industry by far.
Yeah.
And this has certainly been our experience with our own industry reports. Is this the new world we're all going to have to get used to now, or do you believe it's a temporary storm?
I think actually it's something we, for a while, have to get used to, because if you look at what the central banks are doing, I think that as long as the Fed was printing money, I think the Chinese central bank were happy because the two currencies are pegged against each other. So when the US dollar depreciated before, I think that, as I said, the Chinese central bank were happy. What we've seen since the Federal Reserve stopped quantitative easing, we've seen strengthening of the US dollar, and the Chinese are not really playing along anymore. We saw that recently in August when they started to depreciate their currency against the US dollar. So it's a little bit more messy now than it was a year ago, but
more unpredictable as well.
Yeah, I think so. Because as I said, the Chinese were happy before when dollar was lower, and now they need to act because of the peg that they have against each other. So I think we have to live with this the next coming years.
Well, another thing, of course, which leads perfectly on from that is the other comment you made about questioning actually whether the central banks know what they're doing.
Yeah,
and whether we're not in a much more fragile situation than we think we are. Without wishing to be pessimistic, I mean, you're an analyst, you do this for a living. I mean, what is your reading of that?
I think that everybody relies on the central banks today because what happened in 2008, they needed to step in. They needed to inject a lot of liquidity into the market just to stabilize the financial industry, and they did what they had to do back then. But today everybody relies on these liquidity injections. You see ECB is printing money today. You see that the Bank of Japan is also printing money. So there is a big just printing money going on. Federal Reserve, they said that they were going to raise or increase rates. They have communicated that the last year. That's also why the dollar have strengthened. But you see, they can't really do it. The market really relies on low interest rates and the liquidity injection. So I hope they know what they are doing, because the problem is not liquidity. It's actually the debt of the whole world. Actually, if you look at the U.S., no one is talking about their debt ceiling. We were talking about the debt ceiling back in 2011 when they reached, I think it was 14.6 trillion of national debt in U.S. Today it's 19 trillion. No one is talking about it.
It's funny that no one talks about that, but they talk about the Chinese debt.
They talk about the Chinese debt, but if you look at Japan, for example, 220% of GDP national debt, so. And they all rely on the liquidity that the central banks are currently just pouring into the financial industry. But that doesn't solve the debt situation. They want to inflate it away, but they have tried it since 2008, but they haven't really managed.
There is a history in economics of the world contracting very, very quickly. When these things come to a head. Do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah, I don't see any other solution. They are trying to inflate it away, but they can't really get it going. So, because what they are doing, they are pouring money into the financial system. But through the financial system, we only create more debt. They need to get the money straight to the consumers. They need to get the salaries to raise instead, because the growth that we have today is built on debt. And that was the issue back in 2008, and now it's even worse. So they need to figure out how to, in a way, get the money through not through the financial system. They need to get it out to consumers.
Do you see some similarities in the situation today? Sorry, I know this isn't one of the questions I asked you earlier, but if you don't mind me to asking this.
It's okay.
Do you see some similarities between this and 2008 in terms of the lead-up?
You mean if we...
Could there be a crash like there was in...
There's always a black swan. We saw that with Lehman Brothers back in 2008. No one knows what the black swan is today, because everybody thinks this is going okay. We have the central banks, they are supporting us. We have zero rates, we have negative rates in some places around the world. And yeah, they are pouring liquidity into the system. So what the black swan will be, I don't really know. Hopefully they know what they are doing.
Let's hope the black swan migrates fairly quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, moving on, obviously you valued the industry sales last year at $63.4 billion plus 5.8.
Yeah.
But obviously some of the real problems that we're seeing today are geopolitical.
Yeah.
And we have some very difficult problems in some specific locations, Russia, Hong Kong, for instance, and some people would argue China maybe, and the US actually underlying.
Yeah.
I mean, could we be heading for the first decrease in sales this year in travel and DF and TR?
Yeah, since the dollar has strengthened so much, we'll probably see a small decrease in 2015.
Is it going that way?
Yes, it is. You saw that the Eric's presentation, 0.2
for the first half.
Yes, for the first half, and so 2015 probably. Yeah.
Well, trying to put some optimism on this. I mean, I've asked you about some of the things that you're concerned about.
Yeah.
I mean, what excites you about the industry in terms of its prospects?
Yeah. Well, what we've been talking about is the global market, of course. It's not the travel retail industry. Travel retail industry, I'm fully optimistic about that industry. We have a passenger growth. If you look at China, for example, 55 million Chinese have a passport. It's not even 4%.
It's not scratching the surface.
No, it's not. So the passenger growth will continue, probably, if people can get money in their pockets, and not through debt. But somehow that will be solved. So I think the underlying growth of passengers will be good for the travel retail industry. Of course, we need to get the passengers to consumers, and that's the challenge, I think. But otherwise, we have the passenger growth, and that's what we rely on.
And in terms of changing spending patterns, I mean, you must see this. I mean, this is very much what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, are you seeing reducing spending patterns, generally speaking?
Can you?
Are you seeing people spend less when they shop?
That's.
Or is that difficult to analyse?
That's one of the reasons why we joined forces with Mindset.
Okay.
Just trying to understand the consumer a little bit more and how they behave. We have seen that the spend per passengers have gone down since the passenger growth have increased, and we are. Yeah.
Perhaps we can explore that partnership in a minute, and with one of the other questions. And obviously, Ingrid Beer carved generation out of nothing when he started, 36 years ago. But for many times he expressed frustration about the willingness of companies to share data. I mean, how much of this is a problem today, or is it getting better?
What Yngve expressed before, of course, it's been a problem. We get a lot of information today, not only from suppliers, but retailers as well. So some of them are sharing information. Once again, the reason why we're joining forces with Mindset is to put other things on the table, to try to cooperate more with those retailers who doesn't share information. They know that we keep confidentiality, and we do it according to commercial laws in different areas around the world.
But you have a great reputation.
We really do. So,
do.
But we need to put something extra up on the table for them. That's what it's all about. So,
So here's the $64 million question, then, which is, if everybody was to share their data within reason, what difference do you think it would make to the industry? Where we've currently got an average retail penetration rate in most airports, if we're lucky, 25%, which is pretty low. I mean, supposing everybody comes to the party tomorrow, Fredrik, then how would that help?
I think that would, of course, it would do a lot. I think that today everybody is trying to find that information, trying to build their own market in a way. So if everybody would share information with us, for instance, I think that they don't have to continue trying to just collect data themselves. They can get data straight from us. They can start analyzing right away.
So instead of 100 people chasing the same data?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah. We don't, because if you just imagine how much time and how much money everyone spends today just trying to figure out what the market looks like. It's a
whole industry.
Yeah, everyone is doing it. Everyone is doing it their own way, and that's what we would like to put on the table together with Mindset, because we will have the traffic data, we will have the consumer behavioral data, we will have the sales data, and combine that as well with macroeconomical data.
Sounds great.
So yeah, hopefully.
Big job.
Yeah, big job it is, but that's why we're here.
Yeah, you're up for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
Well, what was the attraction to Generation of the Mindset affiliation? Besides, what other things do you think you might be able to do in future, apart from the data side of it? You think you might be able to look at markets or produce special reports, or what have you got in mind?
That's actually what we're starting together. Of course, we will try to enhance the sales data. We have a new product, as I said, traffic data, and also the consumer behavioral data. But in the end, that's something that we would like everyone to have as a base, doing their own analysis. But then we also would like to add consulting to that. So if anyone wants special reports, they want our opinion about certain things, we will be there for them. Yeah.
The usual confidentiality.
Yeah.
And the firewalls that you build into your.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, for those of people who don't know you, I mean, what qualities do you believe you have with your financial background to help take the business forward in future? How do you see the broad structure of your team? I mean, I know that's a big question, or two big questions, but broadly speaking, what do you see in the future?
If I have any strengths, I don't really see that I can do that much by stepping in, maybe with fresh eyes and trying to see things differently. Otherwise, just trying to get people to cooperate. So the thing that we are doing with mindset is one thing. Mm-hmm. That's probably what I can bring. If you look at our staff at Generation and also at Mindset, we need to get away from the collecting of data. Everybody needs to do that. We need to get away from that so that we can rise and have dialogues instead, what will drive the industry forward.
So you mean you need to get beyond that?
Yes,
yeah,
we do.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that will be the challenge for our staff as well. Mm. Just stepping up, having a dialogue with our clients instead.
Because it's one thing obtaining the data, it's
yeah.
another thing then analysing how you can use it.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
Which is a wholly different game, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because that's what everybody's doing today. They are trying to collect data themselves, spending thousands of or millions of dollars, and just imagine the time spent. So, yeah.
Sounds like a compelling argument.
Yeah.
So, what would you describe finally, Fredrik, as the 3 most important fundamental priorities for your Generation business and future? What are the next 3 things that you want to do in
the next 3 things? We already started the cooperation with Mindset. We're trying to give the industry the whole picture. So that's our number 1 priority. The second priority, I don't really have a second priority.
First
right
priority
now.
Is overriding at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Probably to take that step with our staff as well, and the Mindset staff, and prepare them to have more dialogues with our clients.
So there will be some restructuring in the future, will there?
No, not really.
No?
They have a lot of experience.
Right.
If you look at my team and Generation, they've been working for 20, 25 years in the industry. If you have an interview with them about a category or whatever, they know everything.
They do.
They really do. So I want them to have more dialogue with our clients instead of just taking care of data. So
it's quite a team now, then, isn't it? I mean, you've inherited a really good team.
Absolutely.
At Generation, and now you're joining up with a very good team.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Fredrik Lindh, thank you very much indeed for your time today, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.